Well, I call it a political stunt. If you want to call it a dog and pony show, go right ahead. Same thing.
With this going on for more than a month now, are you starting to feel like you're not even in control of the situation, or is there a feeling of helplessness?
No, I will never feel helpless, and I don't think anybody here feels helpless. That's not in our DNA. We're going to continue fighting.
Summer of resistance. Started the summer.
Mayor Bass, he's calling for you to get used to it. What is your...
I'm not going to get used to it. I'm not going to get used to it because last I checked, I was elected to be mayor of the city. That did not include a federal takeover. So either you believe in democracy or you don't.
So just 1 month after the events we witnessed in the county of Los Angeles, which, by the way, it's worth noting, very much vindicated and demonstrated the genuine need for more immigration enforcement in that city, not less. It turns out today that ICE is once again triggering a full-blown meltdown from Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, and local California Democrat leadership in that state, because newsflash here, they do not answer to Karen Bass, they answer to the federal government. After all, despite the fact that she's made basically the same grandstanding speech here about 10,000 times, where she goes out on her podium and she says, there's not going to be any more ICE raids in this city. ICE, get out of our city. You're not welcome here. You don't belong here. Newsflash, Karen Bass is not actually in charge of the federal government. She does not dictate federal policy, nor does she have jurisdiction, because after all, she is not a woke federal district judge. No, but in all seriousness here, today, ladies and gentlemen, we got to bring you the story of what apparently occurred today as potentially here one of the largest ICE raids in the history of LA County, in open defiance to the civil unrest, to the hardcore Democrat backlash against all of this that went down in the very area of MacArthur Park, and how once again, as usually as they always do, Democrat politicians are picking the hills of the worst people in our society to go out and defend as heroes and martyrs. Nonetheless, we'll get into it. We'll tell you all about this event here today and how Karen Bass is lashing out. Apparently, she tried to make a phone call to the Trump administration. The Trump administration basically said, we don't care. Okay, cry all you want. And it is kind of a hysterical situation to witness. And of course, yet another opportunity for Gavin Newsom to grandstand for himself and launch his 2028 presidential campaign. So I guess in some ways, everyone is getting what they want here. Nonetheless, we'll get into it. First though, folks, as usual, do us a favor. If you enjoy our content, make sure you hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Subscribing is not only the best way to support our videos, but it also ensures that you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and coverage. And with that said, so here is essentially, as you can see here, what went down. So Bill Malugin today reported that he was with hundreds of federal agents and military as a massive federal immigration enforcement operation is underway in the MacArthur Park area of the sanctuary city of Los Angeles. This is particularly an area with heavy MS-13 influence, which, as we know, the Democrat Party seems to have a repeated and continued affinity for. Now, Mayor Bass has, of course, demanded that these ICE raids stop time and time again, and the feds here responded with one of their largest ICE raids yet, including here not even just necessarily ICE, but Border Patrol agents on horseback. As you can see right here, and the Democrats were making a big deal out of videos like this that you saw out of MacArthur Park earlier today. So as you can see, people are saying that this is fascism. They were sharing this, okay? Mayor Karen Bass was putting this all over social media, showing to the world that, can you believe what ICE is doing? To which I respond and say, yes, I can. This is what we voted for. This is called a immigration raid. I mean, it's a fairly big one, but it is one indeed. You know, I don't genuinely see the issue there. But anyways, there you have it. And the rhetoric in response to this out of their party is to be expected here. As you can see, as one example, right, you have the institution, the media organization of Midas Touch, who you know is always going to deliver some fantastic opinions here, is going out and stating, okay, I kid you not, this is not satire. They're saying never, this is in response, by the way, not to the migration crisis, just to be clear, but in response to the federal officers enforcing federal immigration law in the United States of America. What are they saying here? And I quote, well, the statement is, never accept this as normal. This is an invasion. It's an invasion, guys. So it's not an invasion when Joe Biden allows 10 million foreign nationals to flood into this country. But the invasion is, of course, when federal law enforcement and federal military enacts the laws of the United States on the borders and territory of the United States. Now, apparently, despite a lot of the rhetoric you've heard lately about like Viva, other countries, right, et cetera, no, Los Angeles is indeed a part of the United States, but basically there you have it. Now, the kind of narrative here from Karen Bass that she's been trying to spin is essentially that ICE raided this random park, right? This public park in LA where there's kids playing and they're just terrorizing random families, as you can see here, right? She posts this picture hugging a child and goes on to say that, quote, "I met some of the children who had to leave the park today because of a military-style operation designed to strike fear in the heart of our city today. We will not be afraid, and we will not be divided. We will stand together." So there you can see it. I mean, obviously, right? It must be so cruel for the Trump administration. Why would they go on to raid a public park? We'll tell you the exact reason for that here in a second. Because, ladies and gentlemen, MacArthur Park, as many native residents of Los Angeles, myself included here, will tell you, we're not talking here about some normal family-friendly area. As a matter of fact, no, indeed the opposite, as Christina Pushaw here notes. People criticizing this have no idea what MacArthur Park is. It isn't just a public park with swings and playgrounds and kids. It is a drug market and a one-stop shop for illegal aliens to purchase fake IDs and fraudulent documents, which, by the way, is, of course, the perfect place for an ICE raid. This is after Bill Malukin further notes that it is MS-13 territory. And so, Karen Bass is saying, oh, protect the kids, protect the kids. But apparently do not protect the kids from MS-13, do not protect the kids from drug dealers, from crazy, homeless people, et cetera, et cetera. That is, I guess, not the case. And if you don't believe me, you want to say that's just blind, empty rhetoric there, we'll take a look at some of the actual photos of, MacArthur Park as early as even very recently here, right, out of the city of Los Angeles under Karen Bass's leadership. I mean, look at that. Does that not just look like such a family-friendly area, right? Why would ICE and federal law enforcement potentially have any interest in basically doing the job here that LAPD should have done a long time ago and clean up this area that is indeed should be, yes, a public park where children and families can feel safe, but clearly it is not. I mean, look at just some of these pictures here. By the way, these tents and umbrellas you see is indeed the open air market for illegal and counterfeit goods that is, of course, being discussed in question there. Obviously, that was just such family-friendly behavior. I'm sure they all have their permits. I'm sure they're permitted. They're paying taxes. They're definitely all doing this legally, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, we do not believe here that is the case. And again, if you don't want to take our word for it, take a listen here to reporting from NBC Local News in LA, prior, obviously, to these ICE raids that demonstrate to you what the long-standing history of this MacArthur Park area has been. Again, we're not talking about a family-friendly playground here, are we, guys?
The problems in and around MacArthur Park are getting worse, and those who spend time there every day say they're fed up. Those complaints continue weeks after Langer's Deli threatened to close due to drugs, crime, and other issues.
NBC4's Alex Rozier was at the park today. He joins us live on what he heard out there as well. Alex?
Colleen and Annabelle, we are live tonight a few blocks from MacArthur Park as we felt that this is really the closest we can get and report live safely nearby. But today we went into the park and got a close look at a very sad situation.
So right off the gate, that is a detail I do not want you to miss here. But according to this own reporter, by the way, for NBC, not Fox, not News Nation, not Newsmax, not OAN, right? NBC is stating here that the street basically down the road is the closest he could get to MacArthur Park while being able to report on the situation safely. But I'm sure it was such a family-friendly area. How could Trump do this? As usual, as you saw in the Kilmar Abrego Garcia situation and the MS-13 stuff, even dating back to the Trump animal comments back to like 2018, 2019, as usual, they always pick the hill of defending the worst possible people and parts of our society and say to the broader American public, can you believe it? Can you believe what Trump is doing? Cleaning up the parks so that they're actually safe for children. What an evil thing to do. How could this happen, right? This is fascism. Don't you know this is the United States of America? This is democracy. And we all know, guys, that democracy is about your constitutional right to have your tax dollars be funded on illegal aliens and drugs and all this stuff, destroying local areas and communities. This is what democracy looks like, right? But anyways, there's more. So take a listen here to further details of the not so savory activities that take place in MacArthur Park, Los Angeles.
MacArthur Park has the potential to be one of the prettiest parks in the city. But if you visit it today, this is a sampling of what you'll see.
This is a forgotten park.
Derek Rice has worked nearby for 34 years.
When I can imagine how it used to be. I can imagine families walking to the park, kids having fun, running around. Now that's how you see the homeless problem, the drug addicts and stuff, 24 hours just hanging out there.
A few blocks away, we saw Miguel, who just picked up his 6-year-old daughter from school. I asked him about the park. He said, it's kind of scary because there are a lot of people who are drugged up, and so we are scared to walk through there.
We're scared to walk through there, says a Hispanic father with his young child. So, in the name of the children, then, Mayor Karen Bass, would it not be a justified move to send some type of law enforcement? Again, if LAPD is not going to do it, then, the military, the federal officers, ICE, etc., might do it for them, to potentially go in there and clean up the area? Is that such a crazy idea? Well, of course, according to them, it is.
Community continue weeks after Langer's Deli across the street threatened to close after nearly 80 years in business.
I've been complaining about this for ages.
Norm Langer blames nearby crime, drug use, and mental illness as a reason he's lost a third of his longtime business.
It's somewhat out of control.
The park is in Los Angeles Council member Eunices Hernandez district. She said in part, quote, the challenges facing MacArthur Park are not new, but we are bringing in unprecedented resources to address the decades of neglect that have devastated the area. She later said her office launched a street medicine team and secured $3 million that will help people here who are in need of housing or impacted by substance use.
It'd be nice if they cleaned it up, get the drugs out of there.
But as of today, this park with potential is filled with problems. That's heartbreaking for longtime Angelenos.
Where do the kids have to go now? Where do the old, elderly and stuff, where do they have to go to? They can't go sit in there.
Derek's hoping for a fix so MacArthur Park can once again prosper.
This city is still beautiful, but the politician got to get it together.
And I reached out to LA Mayor Karen Bass's office. Her team said they are working on a statement and will get that to us later tonight. But we are going to stay on this one because as of now, this story hasn't gone away. Reporting live, I'm Alex Rozier, NBC4 News.
Working on a statement. In other words, she has nothing to say, and she certainly, you could bet, had no plan to do anything or say anything about MacArthur Park until someone else stepped in and did her job for her, and apparently that was offensive. It's just so telling, right? Every single local that they talk to in the news story, everyone around the area is like, oh, that place is a cesspool. That place is dangerous. That place is terrible, et cetera, et cetera. Crime, gang activity, even with MS-13 in the neighborhood, here is all going on. It was just, they're raiding innocent families, guys. Can you believe it? They went into Disneyland and deported a bunch of children. No, that's not really the case, right? Anyways, nonetheless, as you could expect, as I said here before, the Democrats are, of course, picking the hill of dying on defending not only this place, which is full of the very bad degeneracy just to begin with here, but on top of that, kind of ironically, in a double sense here, also defending the cornerstone and iconic failures of their own leadership in the case of Karen Bass, right? She's doing both. She's both defending the nonsense, the cesspool going on, but she's also saying, yes, I do such a good job as mayor because look at the state of MacArthur Park before all of this. Okay, anyways, take a listen here to her utter meltdown that you heard in the city of Los Angeles today.
Frankly, it is outrageous and un-American that we have federal armed vehicles in our parks when nothing is going on in the parks. It's outrageous and un-American that the federal government seized our state's National Guard. It's outrageous and un-American that we have U.S. Marines who are trained to kill foreign soldiers overseas deployed in our American city.
Outrageous, un-American. And of course, the most ridiculous statement of all there, nothing going on in our parks. Everything was fine, don't you know? It's such a wonderful, peaceful area. For sure, Karen. I'm sure of that. You know, that's what the people around the area were definitely saying, right? Insane and ridiculous. Now, the grandstanding here, the performance from Karen Bass did not stop because apparently today, as all of this was going on outside MacArthur Park, Mayor Karen Bass got on the phone with the head of Customs and Border Patrol and is demanding. The mayor's demand. Oh, she's demanding. Really? What? Well, we're so scared by this now, right? Demanding that immigration agents get out of MacArthur Park now, because she hasn't done that before, by the way. She definitely has not a million times said, "Hey, ICE, get out of our city." They don't get out of their city, okay? But anyways, take a listen here as Karen Bass apparently does that. Oh, I did a phone call, like Gavin Newsom did the phone call with Biden. You know, same story here, but check it out.
I am going to say,
Mayor Bass, I need to get my phone and we're departing.
Okay, all right.
Mayor Bass. Mayor Bass.
Any comment, Mayor Bass?
Thank you.
Mayor Bass, any comment?
Yes, my comment is they need to leave, and they need to leave right now. They need to leave because this is unacceptable.
Who did you speak with?
Just wait and see.
Mayor Bass,
They will be leaving soon.
Mayor Bass, who did you speak with on the phone just now? Who did you speak with on the phone?
The head of Customs.
Wow.
Wow, she did the angry phone call and everything. I'm sure Customs and Border Patrol is shaking in their boots right now. So, there you have it. Newsflash, they are not leaving. They will indeed be coming back to Los Angeles many times here, it would seem. Because this massive ICE raid, of course, happened after you told them the first 24 times to tell them to leave. So, anyways, there you have it. Of course, Governor Gavin Newsom, who is currently in the process of formally launching his 2028 presidential campaign. He will actually be making campaign stops very soon, in informal ones, but still in early primary states like South Carolina. But nonetheless, he similarly tries to go out here and demand the same thing. Get out of our state. This is cruel. This is inhumane, right? It's inhumane to clean up the public parks and make them safe for children. Obviously, that's the logic of the Democrat here. But anyway, check it out.
I want folks to know we have your back, and we'll continue to come back and do what we can to protect our diverse communities, to protect the spirit that defines the best of this city and our state, and to push back against this cruelty. To push back against this cruelty that is being perpetuated by the President of the United States.
For diverse communities, guys, of course, that's what it's all about. We're really just protecting the rich diversity of LA, which, as we all know, who doesn't, by the way, include MS-13, drug dealers, counterfeit stores, and fentanyl zombies, basically. That's diversity. How dare you come here and remove the diversity, the strength of the city of Los Angeles, which is the individuals residing in MacArthur Park. Okay, Gavin Newsom. Now, obviously, part of the reason we talked about so much as we did in the beginning is that both Mayor Bass and Gavin Newsom here are basically trying to rely on the ignorance of the national population who's probably never heard of MacArthur Park. They don't know, obviously, what is going on there, but that is, of course, why the video in the beginning is so important. And, of course, this further demonization of ICE agents comes, as we pointed out in the last video, on the same exact day where we're dealing with actual attempted assassinations against ICE and Border Patrol agents. And Stephen Miller today went on Fox News to talk about this and a lot more in reaction to the LA mayor's, meltdown and all this, the ICE raid in MacArthur Park. So here you go. Take a listen to the official response of the Trump administration on this situation.
This is the central struggle in the West. The Democrat Party's objective is to flood the West with millions upon millions of illegals from the developing world, from the poor nations of the world, the failed states of the world, the collapsing states of the world, believing that in so doing, they will collapse the West, they will collapse the middle class, they will collapse the population that has lived here before the migrants came. And in so doing, they think in the rubble of that, they can rule. They can sit on top of the pile of ashes. Ask yourself this: why is it that Democrats are so insistent that unlimited numbers of illegals from countries that are incapable of managing their own affairs come here? Countries like Somalia, countries like Haiti, countries that have no history of successful self-government, and they want unlimited numbers of illegals from those countries and refugees from those countries to come here with no chance at the pace, the scale, the scope of arrivals at being able to assimilate and integrate into the American way of life. What has it done to our schools? What has it done to our hospitals? What has it done to just traffic in our cities? Every issue that affects our quality of life, Jesse, public safety, drugs, crime, education, healthcare, waiting in the emergency room, are all exacerbated, worsened, and undermined by mass illegal immigration.
Boom. I mean, obviously, I could not have even said that better myself. But don't you know, Stephen Miller, that's the diversity. Right? Those are what would LA do without these so-called diverse communities like the one you see in MacArthur Park? You evil fascist. You want to make the public parks clean and safe for children? How dare you? What a horrible, reprehensible, as Gavin Newsom says, a cruel political stance to have. Okay. But anyways, there you have it. I'm going to take a wild guess here. I do not expect ICE raids in LA or Chicago or any of these sanctuary cities to be ending anytime soon. But with that said, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new, and until next time, God bless and peace.